The attention to detail in these games are insane, and some you may have never even noticed before in the Batman Arkham games, such as the choice that may save someone's life in Arkham Asylum, a medic suffering from a concussion in Arkham City, and the developers for the Deathstroke boss fight in Arkham Origins are a lot smarter than you think, and those are only a few details that I'll be covering today. Comment down below what your favourite detail is, and be sure to like and subscribe. Let's get started. For our first detail, we're going back to the very first game, which is Batman Arkham Asylum. At the start of the game, when we go to stop the escaped inmates from damaging the Batmobile, there's a section where armed thugs pin down Arkham guards who are hiding behind an ambulance for cover. Later into the game, when going after Dr. Young, we can see that the guards are now dead, the gate has been busted open, and that the ambulance has been moved. Even further into the game, after the death of Dr. Young and while following Quincy Sharp's trail, we can see outside of the penitentiary, a group of thugs push an ambulance off the edge of the building, which we can assume is the ambulance that was stolen earlier, as if we go back to where it originally was, it has now disappeared completely. I personally never put two and two together until my latest playthrough, as I just presumed that the ambulance and gate were removed for the convenience for the player's path. So let me know if you knew this. Possibly the most unnecessary detail in Batman Arkham Asylum is at the very start of the game. While escorting Joker to his cell, you can actually find trainee guards along the way hiding behind trained guards. You can actually see which ones are trainee guards, as the ones that are in training have white badges to point them out. Do keep this trainee guard Thomas in mind for the next detail. Did you know that in Batman Arkham Asylum there is actually two different outcomes for this trainee guard that we can find at the start of the game? When tracking down Joker using Harley Quinn's fingerprints, we are led to the Botanical Gardens. After a small predator section in the glass house, if we continue to track Harley's fingerprints, it will give us this cutscene.
You need to stop this now, before it goes too far.
Stop? But everyone's dying to see what I do next.
Let him go now.
Really? Okay, if you say so, then. Whoopsie!
No!
You really need to speed things up, Bats. At this rate, you'll never catch me!
We then have to figure out a way to disable the electrified water. Interestingly though, if we head to disable the electricity before meeting Joker, Joker will say this.
Well, aren't you the persistent one, Bats? Always one step ahead.
When we go back to meet Joker, we will get this cutscene instead of the first one.
You need to stop this now, before it goes too far.
At this rate, you'll never catch me!
The guard that Joker captured is the intern named Thomas Armbuster, who we can actually meet at the start of the game, who says this after Batman chokes Joker.
I saw what you did back there. Couldn't you have just squeezed his neck a little harder? Would have been better for everyone.
Did you know about this? Moving on to Batman Arkham City, and this game does not slow down with its efforts to place details all over the game's map that some players just will never find, but it makes the game feel so much more lived in. Here are my favourites. We should all know by now the Wonder City guards that we have to scan in order to figure out the secret door for the League of Assassins in Batman Arkham City. But did you know during Protocol 10, when most players will follow the main objective to stop Hugo Strange, we can instead head to Wonder City to find the same guards piled up on the street. After Protocol 10, if you return to the same spot, the robots will now have disappeared. We then don't see them until we play the DLC Harley Quinn's Revenge, where we have to go up against them in the Harley Quinn boss battle. This makes me wonder if Joker had some sort of backup plan if he survived, and then because he died, Harley took them instead. There's actually a lot more going on during Protocol 10 in Batman Arkham City that you may have never known. If we head to the subway where we originally went to turn off Penguin's jammer, we can see that the entrance is blocked by a gate, as the prisoners of Arkham City have taken refuge there. When you try to get access to the subway, the thugs will say this.
Sorry, Station's closed. What are you gonna do now? Hey, here's an idea. Why don't you go back up top and let one of Strange's bombs blow the crap out of you? You're not welcome down here.
This is nowhere near where the main objective is, so it is pretty unnecessary, but I do really appreciate that they put these little details in for people who've played these games thousands of times to find. In Batman Arkham City in the Monarch Theatre, during the fight with Clayface nearing the end of the game, we all know that Joker is spectating from the stand to see who comes out on top. One thing we can do is after freezing Clayface, we can throw a remote batarang at Joker. Something really cool, which is pretty funny that they even thought of this, is that Joker will actually duck when you try to attack him. Even trying to aim any of the gadgets that Batman owns will trigger this to happen. Probably my favourite detail out of all of the Batman Arkham games was actually spotted by a viewer of mine. Early on in the story, Batman tracks a sniper shot from the Joker which appears to have been fired from the church. Batman is then ambushed by Harley Quinn and her men who have taken hostages. Once we've cleared the room we can speak to the hostages, but if we try and speak to this specific hostage, we will actually speak to the guard who's standing beside her, who says that the hostage got hit pretty hard in the head but should be okay.
Is she going to be alright?
I think so. She got hit in the head pretty hard when Harley Quinn came in. We should get a squad together, hit back.
There's too many of them, officer. Stay here with the wounded.
Interestingly though, the hostage from the church is actually the fourth hostage captured by the Riddler later on. When Batman asks for the code that Riddler gave her, she struggles to remember them, which could be a sign of a concussion, which she probably received with her altercation with Harley Quinn.
He gave you a number.
He did. Oh no. What was it?
It's important. You need to remember them.
Oh, yes, it was 606 by 120.
You need to rest here and then make your way back to the church if you feel up to it. I need to go after Riddler.
I do love this detail, and the fact that Batman seems concerned for her shows that Arkham Batman does have a lot more emotion than people are led to believe. Let me know what you think of this detail. Next on the list we have Batman Arkham Origins, and I couldn't find as many details that were as amazing as the previous games, but the few I did find were really cool. I think everyone who has at least played Batman Arkham Origins once will remember this iconic Deathstroke boss fight, as it's widely considered the best boss fight out of all the Batman Arkham games. After completing the Deathstroke boss battle, Batman steals Deathstroke's sword and uses it against him, making Slade stumble backwards. Slade asks,
What are you?
which Batman responds by throwing a sword at Deathstroke, which distracts him, giving Batman the opportunity to knock him out. A detail that I love is that Batman purposely throws the sword on the left side of Deathstroke. The importance of this is that Slade of course has a patch on his right eye, so turning his head to the left would leave him unable to see what is happening to his right. If Batman had thrown it to the opposite side, then maybe Deathstroke could have seen his attack coming from the corner of his eye and had time to counter. But let me know what your thoughts and theories are. Maybe it's a reach, but if it's true then it's an awesome attention to detail. I've spoken about this detail before, but I feel like it's too good of a detail to leave out of this video. After it has been revealed that Bane knows Batman's secret identity, Batman needs to head back to the Batcave. As Bane now knowing his information, it is not safe where Alfred is located. On the way to Wayne Manor, he gets a call from Bane, who is already at the Batcave and has lit the place on fire, destroying it. Batman enters the cave, which is now in ruins, quickly fixes the Batcomputer in order to get the detective vision working again, and rescues Alfred, but Batman appears to be too late. Alfred tells Bruce,
Don't add me to the weight you carry.
And feeling the guilt and sadness he felt, similar to when his parents died. Although it's already a great scene, what makes it even better is if you have subtitles on when you attempt to revive Alfred, rather than the subtitles labeling him as Batman like it normally does throughout the game. It actually labels him as Bruce Wayne. This shows that Batman is still human, and being the reason that someone who cared for him and was really close to him was close to dying was all too much for Bruce, which was really well done, and I love how simple of a change this is, but it shows how WB really understood the character of Batman. For the last game of the Rocksteady trilogy, we have Batman Arkham Knight, and we all know this game is graphically amazing, but the attention to detail is also incredible. Here's a few of my favourite details I found within the game. Did you know that there are multiple outcomes for the officer we play as in Arkham Knight? We start the game as Officer Owens, a GCPD officer who is spending his lunch in Polly's diner, and while waiting for food he is interrupted by a civilian who explains to Owen that there is someone smoking in the corner of the diner. Officer Owens heads to the corner where he meets this hooded figure smoking. When he attempts to speak to this mysterious person though, it has been revealed that we have just been hit with Scarecrow's fear toxin. Owens goes into a panicked state and pulls out a gun on these demons in order to defend himself. The interesting thing about this section is that there's actually two different outcomes for Officer Owens depending on your choices. In order to hear these outcomes, we need to head to the GCPD in order to find Owens locked up, and we can hear the guards outside of his cell having a conversation between each other about the events. If Officer Owens decides to shoot anyone in the crowd, the guards will say this.
Yep, poor bastard. He ain't gonna be able to live with himself when he finds out what he did in that diner.
He's gonna lose his badge for sure.
Owens is a good cop, lives for the job. He don't deserve this.
If Officer Owens decides not to shoot anyone, the guards will have this conversation.
God knows how we got out without shooting anyone. The people in that diner tore each other apart.
Is it just me? The toxin don't seem to be wearing off.
I hope you're wrong. He's going through hell in there.
If you recently played Arkham Knight, comment down below what you chose. Here's a great detail that I saw Gotham Paladin pointed out, is that in Arkham Knight, Jason Todd is weirdly hunched over for the entire game, but there's actually a really cool explanation for this. If we look to the dream sequence of Jason and the Joker, when Jason is being tortured we can see that Jason is strapped to a wheelchair, but what's interesting is that Jason has barbed wire around his torso, which would make it very tough for Jason to lean back on the chair. That's most likely why Jason has that bad hunch, which is such a pointless detail to have, as most people probably wouldn't even notice, but adds so much more to how brutal Joker was and how tragic Jason Todd's story really was. In Arkham Knight, there's a QuickTime event that can change the look of your Robin permanently. This is when Batman and Robin team up to capture Christina Bell after taking out her henchman, and just before we meet Christina Bell, if we exit the game and go to the character showcase, we can see Robin and his face is unscratched. Then when we go back to the game and when Christina attacks us, if we allow her to scratch us once, we can hear Robin and Batman say this.
I think she clawed half my face off. Be honest, how's it look?
Like you're too slow.
Once we hit the next save point, if we exit the game and go back to the character showcase, we can see that Robin's face is now scratched. It's a pretty fun detail, and if you have an old save file, it's a cool way to see if you remember to counter Christina's attacks or not. Those are some of my favourite details in the Batman Arkham games. Comment down below what your favourite detail was, and if you have any I missed, let me know. Be sure to like and subscribe. That's all for now. My name is Fo and Slan.